After Calemont's victory, the New France army set out to strengthen the city. A week later, the King of New France and his personal army arrived, along with a group of guardians known as the Sainted Order, led by an ember prior. The king was eager to claim the win for New France and rally support for regaining the whole of France. "Who should I toast among my men?" he asked. The general brought Joan forward and explained her role in the battle. The king raised her hand and the troops cheered. In his royal chambers, the king questioned Joan about where she found the armor and how she learned to use it. Joan talked about visions, which led to her being called a witch. By dawn, she was locked away for 2 weeks. The Ember Prior visited her and ordered the cage opened, declaring that everyone, man, woman, and child, could fight for humanity's freedom. They named Joan a leader of guardians for her bravery at Calamont, and she was given 30 guardian armors. She chose to name herself Joan the Witch, and her group the Order of the Lost Women. Joan swore to defend humanity and keep the flame alive. Her order aimed to discover what happened to women lost at the beginning of the fall, and they decided to join the King of New France in battle. As they campaigned, Joan heard of a village trapped in beast territory beyond the Red Marsh. Other armies had given up on saving them, but Joan wasn't one to back down. She gathered her 30 guardians and set off at night. The marsh was thick with decay and filled with lurking beasts. They pressed on for 2 days with only old maps and tips from a scout. When they found the village, families were hiding in caves, starving. Just as they started to rescue the villagers, the beasts attacked. Joan took charge, drenched from the marsh, her spear glimmering in the moonlight. It wasn't a flawless victory, but they saved most of the villagers. One guardian died, and others were injured, yet the way back felt like a victory, not like a loss. The New France army stood in awe when they returned, carrying kids and elders. Many soldiers decided to join her order after that. Joan fought alongside the king's men in several battles, freeing villages and tackling beast dens. But things started to crumble. The king's army was falling apart, with commanders arguing, supplies running low, and beasts becoming more aggressive. They lost forts as quickly as they regained them, and soldiers were dying, leading to a loss of hope. Moving into a supposed empty area known as the Black Hollow, Joan had a bad feeling. She dreamed of blood-soaked land and warned the general, but he dismissed her concerns. They pushed forward, aiming to reclaim lands once known as Paris, the king's goal. But it was a trap. The beasts were burrowed underground, and when the soldiers crossed, the ground erupted. The guardians faced fierce attacks. Joan and her group fought bravely, but they lost half their guardians, and several commanders were killed. The survivors barely made it out. This loss hit morale hard. Joan felt guilty, wishing she had insisted on pulling her order back. After weeks of tough losses, the king decided to retreat to the safer stronghold in the Pyrenees. He ordered everyone to abandon outposts and those who couldn't keep up. Joan refused to go along. Once she learned whole villages had been left behind, she decided to stay. With her guardians, she gathered farmers, children, and the wounded, leading them toward the mountains. The journey was long and the weather turned cold, but they pressed on. Just a day from safety, the beasts caught up. The guardians formed a protective line, preparing for battle. Joan stood strong in the center, her banner tied to her spear. They held their ground. She screamed, "We are guardians, we will protect." She screamed it again. By the third time, her men echoed it. Joan's last stand bought valuable time for the villagers behind her. Every moment she fought meant one step closer to safety for them. Sadly, she didn't survive, and her body was never found. But the villagers made it to safety. Over 20,000 souls were saved that night. When the King of New France learned of her sacrifice, he was speechless. He had lost face to the people who trooped into the walls and to his subjects. In Joan's sacrifice, he finally grasped what true leadership meant and felt regret. To honor her memory, he called for women interested in becoming guardians. Many stepped forward, looking to protect their families after years of loss. He ensured they were trained as guardians. In her memory, the Order of the Lost Women was reborn, not as just 30 guardians, but as hundreds. They committed to continuing Joan's mission, to protect those in need, reclaim the land, and someday uncover the truth about the stolen women. Margaret the Wolf became the second commander of the Order of Lost Women. The Story Crucible. Mechieval. Like, subscribe, and follow.